What's up, YouTube? It's your boy from the Bay. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button.
Hey y'all, so we are back and this is episode 2 of Bad Boys Club Los Angeles, only on Zeus Network. So in true Zeus fashion, this episode starts where the last one left off, which is a fight. This fight is between Darrell and Milan, and Darrell feels like he got the better hand of him, but Milan is also saying that he got the better hand of Darrell. He's calling him all kinds of bitches and saying, "I beat your ass." In my opinion, this fight was really more of a tie, but I'll say if I had to choose one, I would give it to Darrell. So we see that Ant, the security guard, pins Darrell down on the floor again, like Nala in The Lion King, and I think it's pretty funny.
Pinned you again.
So Darrell manages to break free from security, and he runs around the table to grab Milan and bops him all up in his bald head, bop, all on his head. So the security guard tries to break up the fight. They grab Milan and body slam him down, and the security guard ends up slamming Milan down on his leg. So his leg gets a little injured. You're going to see that this is something that carries on for the rest of the season, and I think he kind of is using it as an excuse to be, injured reserve. So after this fight, everybody must have been on one because everybody's tensions are really high. There's, the energy in the room is really crazy. Carry-On's yelling to Milan about how you have all this expensive stuff on. Why are you fighting with expensive stuff? And I guess when a drink was thrown, some of the drink got onto Carry-On's jacket. So he's complaining about, oh, my jacket. Mind you, the jacket's from JCPenney's and it's like $30. I'm sure he bought it on clearance. So it was nothing to be too crazy over, but I kind of get where he was coming from because the tension in the room was really high. So this is the beginning of where we see Gutta K kind of spiraling and crashing out. He's yelling that, everybody's fighting and it's weak and he doesn't see why they're even fighting in the first place. And if you are going to fight, it needs to be better than this because y'all are all weak as hell. So this is where we see Natalie look over at Dylan and ask Dylan, like, how do you feel that Milan had your back? He really jumped in this fight just to defend you. Because you guys remember that the only reason why he is fighting Milan and Darrell, the only reason why that they are fighting is because he feels like Darrell bullied the white boy Dylan. The camera pans over to Dylan and he's in the corner shaking like a scared chihuahua. He's like, I really appreciate that Milan did that for me. But then they cut over to a confessional and everybody in the house is confessional gangsters. So he's like, oh, I really didn't need Milan to do that for me and I could handle my own business. But as we know, you were just ready to go home 2 seconds ago when you got a little bit of ass whooping by Darrell. So now all of a sudden you're in confessionals talking about how you can handle your own stuff. I don't think you can. So you should be proud that Milan actually did that for you. So we see Natalie tell the producers to gather all the boys once again so they can watch these fan sent in videos about what the fans want to see for the show and what they believe a bad boy is. Some of these do look like auditions that were sent in. I don't think that these were people that knew that they were going to be talking to bad boys in the house. I think that they were auditions. But some of them are, what they feel like, what they think a bad boy is. As we see, we have this girl over here. She definitely was like, I think a bad boy is this, and you guys need to stand on business and all that. And a lot of the boys agreed. So when they're done watching the fan videos, they were kind of talking shit about the fans. But for the most part, they respected what they had to say. And a lot of them were like, oh, they're talking about me. They're talking about me. I'm the bad boy that they're talking about. So I don't know what the rest of y'all are doing here. They're still talking about me. So Gutta K says, no, they're for sure talking about me because I don't even feel like most of you boys in this house are even given what you were supposed to give. So they ask Gutta K, like, well, who specifically are you talking about? Like, put a name on it. Who in this house do you feel like is not giving? So Gutta K immediately points to the 2 white boys and says, da-da-da, da-da-da. Then he points to the 2 straight boys and says, y'all too. I feel like y'all are coming in and y'all are just coming off as like, oh, we're homophobic and we don't really want to be around gay boys. But you knew that this was Bad Boys and there was going to be gay boys here. So what's really going on? This is where Moolah felt like he was being summoned. He felt like he was being called out. So he steps in between the boys and stands right up to the front and says, you know what? No, I'm going to defend my name. Like, I'm here and I'm a bad boy and I'm here and we're going to get bitches. And that's really what we got going on. Curtis heard this and they dap each other up. They felt compelled to hug each other because I think them talking about how straight they are made them realize how much, they're in love with each other. So Natalie feels the tension in the room and she's like, you know what, let's have a toast. So they go upstairs to a different area and they pop open a bottle of champagne and they're all going to toast to the bad boys and making it in the house. They make the toast to the bad boys, but then Moolah says, like, he interrupts everybody and says that he wants to have a separate toast with Curtis because they're team straight. Now, this becomes a huge like debate in the house of team straight versus team gay. And we see that Carry On is kind of standing in the middle of team straight and team gay, and they want to know which side are you on? Like, which team do you play for? Are you team straight or are you team gay? So when Moolah and Curtis make the toast, they're making a toast to all P and no D, which, I mean, you guys know what that is. All kitty and no, you know, hot dog. So that's what they are toasting to. And Carry On tries to make the toast with the straight boys, so team straight. And, Moolah, he was not having it. He needs to know right now, you're not going to toast with me and Curtis unless you are strictly about the P. So are you strictly about the P? Otherwise, you can't toast with us. You can't sit with us. Given very much Regina George, Mean Girls, like, you can't sit with us. And he's the baddest bitch. So, he needs to know. So Anthony immediately butts in and tells him, like, it doesn't matter. Why does it matter which team he plays for? And it, like, what is the real problem here? So Curtis cuts in and he tries to defend his boyfriend. He's like, you know what? Let him speak. Anthony, you've been speaking all day. Give my man a chance to speak and Carry On these questions. So then Darrell jumps in and says, whoa, 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 like, stop coming at Anthony like that. We're not about to do this here. If you guys really want to fight, we can really square up and fight each other. So they turn the attention to Carry On again and continue to ask him, like, yo, which team do you play for? And Carry On has the nerve to come out of his mouth and say, well, I ain't been touched yet, so why does it matter? That obviously sounds like some type of threat, some type of fighting motion. So Moolah gets up and gets in Carry On's face and he's like, what do you mean by that? Like, what you mean you ain't been touched yet? So he creeps over to Carry On and bow, socks him right in his jaw. Carry On's dreads flew everywhere. Blood was leaking out of his mouth and he was very caught off guard, very gagged. So then he's like falling over because security is pushing him and trying to get him away from Moolah. He's falling over onto Curtis. Curtis mushes and pushes him so bad, so hard as he could. So the team gay sees this and they're like, oh, hell no, y'all trying to jump him? Like, what the fuck is going on here? So we see Carry On and he's just kind of yelling, we eat those, we eat those. And it was at this moment we knew he wasn't going to get his look back. And, he was not really about that life. He's not a fighter. And this was the moment that we found that out. Milan felt very enraged that they tried to jump him. So he sneaks around the table and hits Curtis right from behind, like socks him right in his face. And Curtis didn't even really get a chance to react before security guard grabbed Milan and put him in a chokehold to the point where he was like, bro, I can't breathe. Like, you're choking me. This is another moment that kind of fires up Gutta K. Now Gutta K is yelling, spazzing, talking about how he's seen everybody thump. Nobody's really about that life. Nobody here can really fight. The gay people are weak. The straight people are weak. Everybody's weak. And I don't understand why y'all even fighting in the first place. Amongst the chaos, the baddest white boy duo here is just, they're both in the corner holding each other, scared, shaking. They don't know what to do. This is not what they signed up for. This is a completely different program than they thought they were getting into. And these straights, gays, blacks, and Latinos are scaring the life out of them. They are not ready for this. They're like, hell no. So Anthony starts yelling back with Curtis, like, why were y'all trying to jump him? This causes Anthony to see drinks on the table. He grabs those drinks and tosses them right into Curtis's face. Curtis is soaked from head to toe, drenched. Like, if he was thirsty or hot, he ain't no more. Now, this is where it gets kind of chaotic because Anthony is yelling at the camera, talking about how the same type of, frags that y'all calling us is the same type that be fighting for our life. Now, it's the right message, just the wrong time. And it's very, he's yelling at the camera, so it looks very insane. Moolah standing off to the side.
We keep fighting for the shit that we stand for. We are faggots, we are queers, we are everything in between. And when you want to fight us, bitch, we will whoop you. Who want to whoop us?
Moolah standing off to the side with his boyfriend Curtis now, and they're kind of just, powwowing and hugging each other and just in shock. And, we see Darrell and Gutta K, and they're kind of just, I don't know, living for the moment. Gutta K is going crazy. He kind of feels like the tensions are way too high, and so he don't know who's gonna fight who and what's gonna happen next. So he says, I gotta wrap up this hair and get ready to do what I gotta do. If I gotta defend Team Gay, then that's what I'm gonna do.
I was supposed to leave right now. We're done.
Yeah, and take your nigga with you.
When Anthony said that, I know that gagged Natalie, because that was the first time that we had heard somebody kind of call her out on her bullshit, and that was something that we didn't know prior. I think there was rumors, but we didn't know prior to this that that's who she was with, and that's who she was kind of cheating on her husband with. So it was kind of crazy to hear that. So this is where we kind of see Natalie step in and try to do her, executive producer role. And she's like letting them know, calm down. It's okay. Like, it's okay to ask questions. And Team Gay is just like, hell no, it's not okay to ask questions like that, because you are making this a homophobic situation. Natalie tries to relate the situation by calling back to her time on Bad Girls Club with Flo, and how Flo was a lesbian in the house. And it just like, it didn't correlate, but I mean, I see where she was trying to go, I guess. Then we see Lemmy step in, and Lemmy's like, okay, you guys are done fighting for the day. No more fights at all. You guys have so much more days to actually do stuff. Mind you, you guys, this is the very first day, and this is all still happening. So Lemmy's like, let's cool things down for tonight. No more fighting, and let's move on to the next step.
Nobody's gonna fight. Are you hearing me, bro? Y'all hearing me? Real talk.
That was cute though.
I know it's cute. I know.
Then we see he's like, like, Natalie, go ahead and say what you got to say. But before Natalie could say what she has to say, Lemmy's brother steps in and he goes, hey, this isn't Gay versus Straight. This is not the show we're making. So you guys need to calm this down. And that's when the Team Gay steps in and they're like, exactly. And that's what it feels like it's becoming. You guys are telling Carry On that if he is on Team Gay, or if he's been with men or whatever, that he can't be around you. He can't stand by you. They do try to clear it up and say like, oh, well, we want to know how we could play with him. Sounded gay. We want to know if we're dapping him up too much, like, so you can't dap up, you can't shake a hand with a gay guy. So yeah, it definitely gave very homophobic, and the gay people are trying to understand, like, why are we letting this narrative go? Why are we allowing this to be a segregated house where gay stay on one side and straight stay on one side? So while Team Gay and Team Straight are going back and forth, they happen to look over and notice that Carry On is standing right next to Curtis after all this just went down. So Team Gay is just like, actually, why are we keep defending you? Like, you're not even defending yourself, and you're honestly looking stupid. Every time we try to help you and have your back, you're really just making us look like it's for nothing and making us look crazy. Carry On decides ultimately that he's on neither team and says that both teams are weird, and this is why he stays in the middle. Now, Carry On, you're wrong as fuck for this, because the only thing Team Gay was trying to do was say that you get to keep your peace. The thing what you were trying to do and keep your secrets and not really tell, let yourself out the closet, whatever you want to call it. Team Gay had your back. They were like, you shouldn't have to say nothing. Like, if you don't want to say nothing, then you shouldn't have to. And the straight guys were like, no, you're going to tell us what you do in the bedroom, whoever you slept with, who took your virginity, and who's the last person that, you had that with. And gay team was like, no, he doesn't need to say this. So Carry On, you're wrong. You should have stuck by those gay people and said, yeah, I shouldn't have to say nothing. They had your back. Straights were really coming at you wrong.
My sexuality, bitch, fight me. Bitch, and I said what the fuck I said, my shit wrapped up, bitch, I don't give a fuck. And hope got a...
So Natalie once again calms the situation down and lets them know, like, okay, guys, it's time to go to bed. Gutta K is still spazzing, still yelling about stuff. So they're like, you know what, everybody just go to bed. And they ask Carry On, like, so how do you feel? Like, or what, like, what's next? And Carry On tells Moolah that it's smoke all season. I don't care. He was like, I tried to be cool. I tried to be nice, calm, collected, but now it's smoke all season. And I'm going to get you when you least expect it. We'll see if that ever happens, but this is exactly where the episode ends off. So to me, overall, this episode was okay. I don't like that it's still the same day, because all this drama is kind of unnecessary at the end of the day. This definitely gave a divided line between Team Straight and Team Gay. I didn't appreciate that, because the whole point, I felt, of Bad Boys was for it to be a blended mix of whatever you believe in and kind of just proving that you're a bad boy. So it was kind of disheartening to see that the straight boys were so like against being around the gay guys, even though they clearly didn't have a problem, but they were just giving the problem with Carry On. Carry On, I felt like he kind of, you gave coward. You didn't try to get your lick back at all, and I did not like that for you. You should never be scared of no man, and especially because he was only with 2 people and you had like 4 or 5 on your side. So if anything, they would have got jumped and you would have been fine. Curtis, you're a coward as well. You let Milan bop you from behind and sneak you. You did nothing to get your lick back. Then you let Anthony throw drinks in your face, soak you, drench you. You did nothing to get your lick back from that. So I do believe that you're a coward as well. And yeah, this episode overall was, I would say like a 6. Like, it was entertaining because it did have a lot going on and there was a message there, but you know, it was kind of dragged out and the message is not a good message. So thank you guys for coming to check out episode 2. Next we will be doing episode 3. I do believe that Lemmy is dropping a teaser for the Bad Boys season 3 tonight. So if he does do that, we will talk about it. But yeah, thank you guys for checking out this video. Go ahead and hit that like and comment button and say something to me so we can have a conversation in here. And yeah, let's gear up and get ready for Bad Boys season 3. All right, bye guys.
Hey everyone! Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.